Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was affirmative or not.
Nah, okay, we are recording now. No, okay, but Eric, but like, when you were younger, you actually thought like, obviously, when I was younger, I also thought too that if the fire alarm rang in your house, it meant that like the fire department was gonna come.
Yeah, I kind of assumed. I mean, it makes sense on some level, right? I mean, you go to school and the fire, it's like, oh, if you hear somebody's pulled that alarm, like the fire department's coming, right? That's what you're told when you're a kid,
Yeah, yeah,
which is like, I guess not the exact same thing because it's just a mild smoke thing, but I'm pretty sure that's just like a public safety thing because you have like hundreds of people in the building.
yeah. I think it's like for what it is, right? An alarm, but it seems so weird that like thinking back on hindsight, it would make no sense for it to actually call the fire department because you get so many false positives.
That is so true. But for the one time where there's like somebody's dying because they technically detect CO2 as well, right?
I think some of
So
them will detect different
carbon
types
monoxide, I mean that
of
too.
like gas. Some of them are like carbon monoxide, some of them are
Yeah, carbon
CO2. Some of them
monoxide.
are like might be like high levels of nitrogen depending on like the building you're in.
Yeah. But like those, some of those can like carbon monoxide, for example, you're fucked
Yeah.
if uh if there's a significant enough amount. But I think you can detect it early on the ceiling relative to where like ground level because of density.
I think the one thing you know what the really fuck thing is? I remember when I was younger hearing the like fire alarm beep like I don't know the sound, but it's like a beeping sound.
Yeah.
And it's I remember for years, I would go to bed, I would hear it in the middle of the night, and I'm like, this is. Well, I was like, it's so vivid to me. But then at some point, I also remember that like it just stopped working, or it stopped making that noise. I don't know if it's because we replaced the fire alarm in my childhood house, or my dad just stopped putting batteries in.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, who needs the smoke alarms, right?
I
Fire
mean, if
alarms
you
or
don't
whatever.
start a fire, you're fine, right?
Exactly. So yeah, no, I know a lot of people would take the batteries out of those and just say fuck it. If I die, I die.
It's the idea that like if you don't drop your phone, what's the point of a case, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. Who needs a screen protector if if you have glue on your hands?
it's okay. Like you just don't have to start a fire. Like I gotta ask, did your family's house ever have a fire extinguisher? Like, did you ever know of a fire extinguisher in your house?
Do we have a fire? I don't think so. I don't think we have a fire extinguisher, but we might, but I don't think so. At least not like sitting on the wall. That seems too apartmenty. You know what I mean?
The thing is, for some reason, I still think like I have these like childhood memories of like things that my parents or things that I read, right? Either my parents told me or like I heard from somewhere or I read somewhere that are supposed to be like laws, but it doesn't make sense because no one does them. Like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure for some reason I thought I read somewhere that every house is supposed to have a fire extinguisher, like in certain areas of the house in case of a fire, right?
Yeah, that sounds expensive.
Yeah, but then I don't ever remember ever owning a fire extinguisher in my house,
Yeah,
ever.
I don't think I ever have. I definitely don't have a fire extinguisher in my house now, unless you count the hallway of the apartment somewhere.
Well, I mean, is it really your fault if it catches on fire? Well, I mean, you almost set your apartment on fire, but
Well, I didn't almost set it on fire. It was steam coming off of a pan. It wasn't because of a fire. I mean, it
listen,
was because of a
if
fire, but it
that
was because of a controlled fire on the stove. But you know
if
what I
that
mean.
fire alarm was actually working, Eric, that fire department would have been blazing down to your fucking block, bro, and fucking putting water onto your stove.
That just would have made more steam.
We're making it
They'd be like,
worse.
ah, shit. We needed the second division.
No, but I
Oh
think like
god.
I do remember like I remember freaking out one day when I was young. I was like, wait, we're supposed to have a fire extinguisher, but like we never bought one. And then obviously I just went on as a kid. I was like, fuck it. If we die, we die.
Just, yeah, the childhood, fuck it, we ball. My parents know what they're doing situation.
Hey, they got this shit on lock, right? I mean, they got this house, right? What's the worst that could happen?
That's funny. Oh god. Yeah, man. No, are there other things that you can remember that are kind of like that, where you're like you originally thought it was a thing, but like you later found out that it's definitely not. Like you're like, oh, the fire department always comes down, but then they don't.
Yeah, I actually, the weird thing, a lot of my, like, I guess in a way, trauma, I wouldn't say it's like heavy trauma, but like a lot of things that I
Yeah,
was worried about as a child stem from like school stuff. Like, for some, I remember the first time I was in like kindergarten, I'm pretty sure it was, or that or preschool. No, preschool. We did a tornado drill for the first time.
yeah.
And I remember crying during it. I actually thought I was going to die. Like I was not gonna see my mom and dad after this fucking drill. But
Oh no.
every single time we did that drill, I took it so seriously. I was like, there is a chance a tornado could come our way, and we need to be ready to duck and cover. Go behind our locker, go in front of our lockers, and huddle and like in turtle position, cover our necks and head. And then at some point, maybe it took me this long. It was like no, maybe like yeah, no, like early high school, late middle school. I was like, wait, this is dumb as hell. We're in the Midwest in Chicago. Like something like it dawned on me. I was like, the
Yeah.
actual chances of a tornado coming our way is so rare. Like it is so small of a
It is
probability.
very small, yeah.
Like could it
That
happen? Maybe, but hell, I took it so seriously. Like I was line leader. I was the kid to be like getting things serious. I was like ready. I was able to bawl my eyes out. Yeah.
yeah, that's fair enough, man. I mean, honestly, the actual situation when it actually happens is fucking freaky though. So I had when I was a kid, speak on the concept on the topic of tornadoes. When I was a kid, we had gone out to see the optometrist. And so we were going out, and somewhere along the drive there, a really bad storm started coming. That was a
Okay.
tornado watch. And so we arrived there, and we're like, all right, we'll take shelter in the optometrist office because it's getting really bad. It was bad enough to the point where my mom opened her door and it slammed shut.
Oh, that's some
It
that's some
was
high winds high mile per hour winds right there.
it was bad. This was, I think, before I was even in middle school. So there's definitely dramatized nature of my memory of it, but I do remember like being told to like just run for the building, and then I got out of the car, and then when a gust of wind had stopped, and my brother also got out, and we ran, but he ran on one side of a tree and I ran on the other, and I ran into the building, and I see this giant piece of the tree, this branch, fall down where my brother was. And I get inside, and I'm like hiding, and I'm like, is my brother dead? And I was like pondering, like, did he die to that branch? Like, holy shit. And then I see him coming, I'm like, oh, okay, good, he's alive. But
And that's my origin story of why I support deforestation in the Amazon rainforest.
uh but yeah, man, fucking those big weather events are like fucking crazy when you're actually in them. And that was like the tornado didn't even hit us. It was like nearby. There was a tornado that landed, but it wasn't like at us.
Yeah, yeah. It just being in the radius, like even miles away, right?
Shit was windy.
It go
Yeah.
it goes hard. It goes hard.
Yeah, yeah. But that's I remember that. That was crazy.
Dude, I hated like tornado drills. Well, they were kind of fun. Like once I got used to them, but I was like, I was definitely like really serious about it. I was like, I'm not gonna die today. And then I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna die today. Like this, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think I've noticed lately, do you think that having had so many drills growing up, like fire drills, tornado drills, shooter drills, things like that, made you way more complacent in emergency situations or potential emergency situations?
Yes.
So
Yeah, you
like,
you know why? I actually I do know why. Because
yeah,
when we were at our when we were at Western and we had those like fire drills at the dorms,
yeah,
um you know what I did?
yeah. What'd you
I
do?
I didn't I locked my door and I just stayed in my room doing my homework. That's my RA. Dude, my RA. I remember he was knocking on my shit. And he was like, "Bum bang bang, like, you in there? Nah, I bet." And he walked away, and I remember everyone coming back up the stairs. I unlocked my door, walk out. Yo, what's up, bro? He's like, we just had a fire drill. Like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. There was one where like we was a tornado drill, and it was just like clear. It was clear skies, and we all had to go to the basement to the laundry room. And I was like, I don't want to be here right now. And when I first did the drills when I was first there, like my
Yeah.
first semester. After that, I was like, nah, I'm done with this shit. I'm not walking outside anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I always did them, especially in the undergrad thing, because I didn't want to get in trouble. Because I know there's some people who stayed in and got in trouble for it. So I
Oh,
was
this
like,
is the good part
I'll
of
walk
being
out.
like one of the having your RAs also being Asian, and you two are the only Asians in that dorm. We did not give a fuck.
That's fair. That's fair. Actually, this reminded me. Before I say what I was gonna say, uh, I remember at some point when I got into the later years, they I used to find out about when the fire drills were, and then just like chill on a bench far away, and then just watch everybody else doing the fire drills when they start.
Some
Like
people
people
watching.
watching. Yeah, exactly.
You fucker! Wait,
Um,
you didn't tell me about it? Like the 1 year we were together, like you didn't tell me, yo. You didn't call me up. Yo, by the way, we got a fire drill in like 2 hours.
yeah, I could have done that, I guess. I mean,
Your
I didn't
later
always
years,
do it.
fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. I remember junior year, I especially did it. I would hear about it in my dorm, and I'd just go out and grab like lunch during that time or something. uh,
You know,
but yeah,
actually, it's
no,
kind of fucked because I remember the RA meeting, the floor meetings, and one of the questions people always ask, like, "Yo, when are we having the drill?" And the RA was like, "I remember RA would be like, I can't tell you," and everyone's like, just tell us." It's like, "I can't tell you." Come on, man. And then later in the group chat, he goes, "Yeah, okay, don't be at the dorm at like 5 p.m."
that's a chill RA. That's a chill RA. Ours used to post it on. I think I remember seeing posters on the wall of like, "Oh, we have a fire drill this day." That's how I would find out.
It's so I get the idea of like drills, right? It's like you're supposed to get people prepped, like, hey, like this is the procedure, do it this way.
Yeah,
But it's so ass when it's a bunch of college kids who are just really done with their shit. They just got back from class, most likely, or they're going to class. They're getting ready, right? I was
yeah.
taking a test one time, and I was like, I'm not walking outside. My grade is way more important than a fucking silly drill. Like, I'm not walking outside.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I don't want to deal with this drill stuff. The problem for me though is that I've actually had a number of cases where the fire alarm was actually set off and it wasn't a drill, and I just don't take it seriously.
That's the complacency
um,
you're asking about, right?
that's the complacency exactly. So, except that it was set off for stupid reasons. So the first time I remember, um, during undergrad, there was some probably freshman because I was just staying in the dorms. It's like junior year or senior year. Had like burnt their popcorn at like 2 in the morning or something, and so we all had to go outside just for them to like get the fire department in and walk in and be like, "Fuck you" and leave, and then we go back in at 2 in the morning, and then it happened again like a month later, which I
same
like to
same
assume it was the
people.
same person because I was just like, "Oh, dude, you better not have burnt your popcorn." And then, I think it was even like mac and cheese. I think they burnt mac and cheese. Like the cups you put in the microwave?
How do you burn the plastic, bro?
I
What?
don't know. I don't
That's
know. You literally
insane.
put that in water.
That's actually crazy. If you're burning the
Skill.
plastic, you're one probably the voltage on your microwave is too much, and you're microwaving it for too long. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's crazy. But yeah, so there's that. And then when I got into my master's, we got kicked out for fire alarm stuff. Like there was a bunch of people fire alarm activating the fire alarm like 4 times in the night. And actually, no, it was twice, but it happened 2 times in a row twice. So it was like 1 in the morning, or it was like 12 at night for one of them, and then 2 hours later it got activated again, and we found out it's because somebody was smoking.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
N- Is it to set off the alarm twice in one day because they were smoking
Well, I
at
mean,
12 to
you
2 in
set
the
your
morning?
alarm off twice in one day for fucking evaporating water.
Yeah, yeah, but they were smoking next to a fire alarm.
Listen, man,
Activated it,
you got some
got
people
kicked
just need
out
that
of the
good
building.
kush. Okay, they just need to get one puff, one or two puffs, and they're good to go.
Yeah, but this man clearly didn't because he did that at 12 in the morning and then at 2 in the morning he did it again on the
Hey,
same day.
what I'm saying sounds like a good time if you ask me, Eric.
And then a month later, he did it at 1 in the morning and 3 in the morning.
Yeah, that kid probably should not be in his master's program. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I assume it was the I'm assuming it's the same person, I suppose, but there's no way it's not, right?
People are follow their habits. You know, they
Yeah.
tend to do one thing and then do it again even after they get in trouble for it.
Yeah. I do know one of those alarms. Oh yeah. The funny thing about that was it was one in the second time that happened, it was 1 in the morning, and I was joking with my roommate once we had finally left our area. Um, I was like, "Yeah, I'm not even gonna go back to bed because I know it's gonna happen again." And he was like, "You're crazy. It's not gonna happen again." And he goes back to bed. He finally falls asleep as he tells me, and then the fire alarm happens 2 hours later. And he gets up. He's like, "You were so right." You,
I think the only time I ever, well, actually, have we told this story on the podcast? I don't think we have.
uh,
Our high school senior year
high school senior year. Are you
with
talking about the
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 bomb
the
threat.
two? Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't think we have. Go for it.
I This is the only time I can honestly say that we were actually in an emergency situation that wasn't like planned, like a drill, right?
Yeah.
It was like a real thing. We had was it 2 or 3 weeks of a person randomly calling into our school or the police department, maybe both of them, maybe
Something
about
like
how
that.
they planted bombs around in our school, and we actually got evacuated ninth period of our senior year, like near probably the first semester, near the end of our first semester. It was crazy. Like
It was.
everyone, buses were lining up, all the power turned off, everyone got evacuated. We thought it was a school shooter. We had no idea what the fuck was going on, and I never felt like I was ever in danger. Like especially during one of these drills until that moment. I was like, fuck, wait, this is real. Like I don't know like what like how I knew, but some part of me I was like, wait, this is not a drill. Something really is going on.
That is true. Yeah, that was crazy. Where were you when that happened? Do you
I was in
remember?
gym class. I was with my good boy. I won't say his name, but it starts with a letter V. Um, we were just benching together, and we got our workout cut short. We stayed in the weight room for like 30 minutes. Buses were lining up. We're like, okay, well, we're gonna get out of soon, right? Like, what the fuck's going on? We thought it was like a drill for like lockdown, and then we got moved to the locker room, and we were told, "All right, everyone, we gotta go outside now and get on these buses." And I was like, wait, this is really weird.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. I think the funny thing in terms of that and complacence we were just talking about is that the first time that happened, we were sent to like the sister school of ours, um, like a different district, but like same similar like administration situation. I don't remember what the
Yeah, yeah.
situation is.
Same school
But the
district,
second
just
time,
different school name.
yeah, the second time it happened, we were just told to stand outside.
Yeah, it was fucked. Like a lot of people, even like when it happened, we have a mall across the street from our school.
Yeah.
I would say a good like 40% of students just said fuck it and just walked to the mall. And no one stopped them. Like no teachers, no security were like, wait, we gotta take safety measures. They just let these kids walk across the street when they knew it could have been a bomb threat or a shooter.
Yeah, that's true. Although I suppose Barnes and Nobles is probably about as safe as the sister school would be.
I find that maybe Barnes and Nobles might be safer, mainly because there might be someone there with like
Like somebody calling a bomb threat, expecting him to be evacuated to the other school, and then
yeah,
setting
or
an
more
ambulance
like
or
someone
something.
has a gun, like
That's what I
security.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, there could be someone that actually be willing to take action. Listen, we're not gonna get into the whole like gun politics, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is to go from one school to the other
Yeah.
during this time of a possibility of a school shooter.
Yeah. I will say it always happened at the same time of day, and the only reason I know that is because I was specifically um starting gym class, and you always had to change into PA clothes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was always changing into my PE clothes. So I every time it happened, I missed gym class. So I was like, there are
Nice.
benefits to tough situations.
It was. I remember going on the phone, calling my parents, and being like, "Don't come to the school. Just come here instead. Like, but just don't go to the school." And I remember kids on the bus were like actually like crying, and I was like, "Wait, I can't wait to hear what the school has to say." Because the other fuck thing is, I had state the next day, and all my shit was in the
Oh,
school.
that's fucked. Wait, state
And
for swimming? Or what was
no,
state for?
I stayed for DECA. I had business competition.
Oh,
This
right,
sounds
right, right.
so fucking kind of nerdy, but it's like the more Giga Chad of like Science Olympiad, in my opinion.
It's not. You're
Nah,
so
I'm just
wrong
saying.
about that.
Listen, I'm working
It's
on
it's it's
spreadsheets.
the corporate world of Science Olympiad is basically what it is.
Like, it's the more bureaucracy and being like, why do you think yogurt should be sold in the store? Brand it
Oh,
right now.
if you mean Giga Chad, like not as in actually like the better version, but as in like the Giga Chad in nature version of it, then I
Yeah,
100% agree.
yeah, the nature of it, not so much of the. I honestly think if you're in Science Olympiad, that's more. That's actually more Giga Chad, just because you're actually building shit and doing like robotics and whatever, right?
Yeah, but as far
That
as the
shit.
meme, that
Yeah,
fits way more template.
yeah. I wore a suit and everything. I felt good, bro. Fuck. No, but it sucked because we had a project that was like we spent the entire year working on 30 pages, 15-minute presentation, like everything. And we it could have been ruined off that one day because we apparently okay, obviously like teachers they probably could get inside just because, they have the passes, they're the like, staff, but all our shit was in the building. So,
Yeah, they're trained to dodge bombs. You know how it goes.
yeah, they're superheroes in my eyes. Not
Oh yeah.
not definitely not biased from a fellow math teacher.
Ninja training course, was that your favorite one? Along with the
Apparently,
geometry,
no.
fundamental
Apparently,
geometry.
some of my friends who were doing the undergrad with me, um, they got trained for school shooter activities. Like not,
Really?
yeah. It was some of them like got real like they were like kind of some of them cried during it. It was really funny actually.
Oof. Wait.
Because
Did they? What do you mean they got trained? Like you don't mean physically. You mean like
no,
on
no.
step
They
stick.
physically got trained. Like they
Whoa.
went into the school, okay, and they're like, "Here's the procedure." There's all the. It's so cracked out to hear this, but imagine like on the like hallways, right? Like on the like
Uh-huh.
ends of the hallways, there's like these balls, right? Just
Balls.
shit. I like the tennis balls, whatever. Like, and the thing
Okay.
is, the procedure for this district is that if there was a school shooter, you as a staff member are supposed to pick up one of these balls on the side of the hallway and throw it at the shooter. Actively trying.
Whoa.
And here's the thing. Here's how they trained it. The person who was role playing as the shooter had like a BB gun or some shit.
Whoa. Wait,
It
that's
was
fucked.
crazy.
That's fucked, dude.
Yeah, no, my friend was telling me like, yeah, it was kind of traumatizing. Like, it's no like,
Yeah.
but like it was like I actually was scared. Like I knew I wasn't gonna die, but he was telling me that it was not a fun experience. Like he was like, it's already stressful enough to think about that. Like I could go in to work one day and die. It's a whole other thing to be like being trained to be like, holy fuck, man. I'm actually in the scenario now. Like it's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's fucked that's something that has to be trained. But it's unfortunately it kind of is. Although that measure is so terrible.
It's so
That is not
stupid.
a useful measure. That is how you get more people killed. That's like making target practice.
I don't know what their theory is, as if like to distract the shooter to give the kids more time. But like I've heard other policies from other schools where it's like it's every man for themselves. It's like even if you are the staff member, right?
Yeah,
You have to like live is the thing, right?
yeah,
But I don't know. It's so crazy that this profession is now, well, I don't know, probably is still, but like it's crazy like there is this high level of risk involved with it,
yeah,
weirdly enough.
yeah. From like military level risks is the
Yeah,
crazy
like
part.
someone coming in with like an like, and people might be like military, these guys are overexcited. AR rifles, like these guys, like some of these people can like have their hands on these. They've shown they can get it.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, the I think the crazier thing, like when you said, okay, so I had like a bunch of different things in my mind when you said training, right? My first thought was like, okay, they're being trained on like how the drill structure works and like if somebody breaks in, like or how to hide the students properly so that there's no windows or whatever. You know, stuff that you see in like school shooting um drills.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, no, they're trained physically," and I was like, "Oh, okay, so they're getting, like, a Krav Maga course, like, basic stuff on how to, like, disarm somebody or something," and then you're like, "No, they're told to stand at the end of the hall and throw tennis balls at them, basically,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yo, that's fucked."
I'm pretty sure, obviously, like they would still. I won't bag on them too much. Well, I'm gonna bag on them because that's just stupid. But like, I'm sure my friend had like locked the doors, put desks in front of it, stall for
Oh,
time,
I'm
whatever.
sure, but that's not on him. That's not on him. That's terrible training on, like,
No, for sure.
the policy.
Yeah, it's when he told me that he was like, yeah, he got shot at with like a BB gun. I was like, nah, bro, you're crazy to even think this is a proper thing to do.
Yeah, what I think it is mental preparation. I think they don't actually care if you understand the methods of like, ooh, me throw tennis ball. I think they understand. I think they want you to be in a scenario where they're mentally established through that like semi-traumatic event of that training thing with the BB gun
Yeah, I think it's that other idea of
under pressure.
how we're talking about earlier with like the complacency of like drills. Maybe complacency is the wrong word for this case, but
Mhm.
as you're saying, like desensitization of like of the fear or the terror that could happen or will happen in that
Yeah,
scenario. Like, I honestly think like if I was in a fire, like I would be scared, but I'd be like, okay, get to the exit fast. Like we gotta
yeah,
move. On the off chance that a fucking tornado comes in, I don't know, get away from the windows, find places, cover yourself, don't get hit by glass, right? Get
yeah.
lower levels, all this stuff. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about the idea of like BB gun to the face, be like dead, and then the fucking trainer goes, next time you got this next time. I'm like, there is no next time. That's the point.
Yeah. Uh, no, it's literally now that I think of it, it's literally like how you know how modern militaries like function in their training compared to old ones, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like old militaries, what they used to do in like hundreds of years ago is they would teach you fighting skills and like you would learn how to do this stuff. But modern militaries, they'll teach you how to use a weapon, but a lot of what they're teaching you how to do is shoot without thinking.
yeah. I think
that
one other
and
thing is
that's
like the psychology of it. Like the targets they use are different now too.
Yeah, so in old times there were studies where and there's still studies that if you teach somebody how to use weapons, especially in like military combat situations, only like I think it was like 50% of people will actually aim to kill the opponent in a combat situation. Like you would find that in like World War I, people with guns would shoot so that they wouldn't get yelled at, but they would purposely aim for nothing.
Yeah,
In modern militaries, it's I think with modern training, it's up to like when people are trained, it's up to like 90 or above percent of people will shoot to kill because of how they're trained.
yeah. I
It's
think even
crazy.
like in like the Revolutionary War and maybe the Civil War too, there is like evidence like people picking up muskets and finding that like there's still like um bullets, like 5 of them stacked up in the barrel still.
Yeah.
And it's simply the fact that like they didn't want to kill their fellow like Americans or their or any other human being, but
Mhm.
they were there as soldiers, so they pretended to take the fire, but they couldn't, they would never know.
Yeah. They just wouldn't press the trigger so you get that 5 stack because they kept reloading, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's fascinating, but the scary thing to me about that is, like, 1, the modern methods lead to, like, you know, uh, some pretty bad mental issues on that front, but in terms of using those same tactics, or seemingly, at least in my head, using somewhat similar tactics to teach teachers how to defend themselves in a school shooting situation is freaky, especially with non-effective methods like throwing balls at at a shooter from across the hall.
Yeah, it's tough to say because I don't know if I would want that training. I'd be like, this kind of fuck. Can we do something different? But
Yeah,
I'm not in the policy making. I'm in the teach calculus side of the of the table.
you're looking at the rate of change of the bullet, not how to throw a tennis ball to stop.
Dude, that'd be a crazy thing.
The
At
crazy
point
thing is,
two
I don't even.
seconds, how far away is it from my face?
Yeah, let me analyze the kinematic equation. Uh, oh God.
Yeah, but drills are getting more and more tough though. Like I might need to ask my nephew how the drills are at our old school because he's attending it right now. Not our college, but our high school.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be
Um,
curious actually. Yeah, I know
because
they
I know
used
they
to.
have different procedures now. They have to have changed it, 100%.
Which one do you think is worse? Like school shooting drills or nuclear bomb drills? Not in terms of effectiveness, but in terms of psychological
Oh,
impact.
okay, I, mean, I want to say the
Because
duck and
nuclear bomb
cover.
drills are super ineffective, right?
Like
Obviously.
I love watching the old like World War II videos. That shit's so funny.
The turtle, the
Yeah,
duck and
and cover.
cover.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking great.
But yeah, which one do you think has the more psychological impact long term on the generation? The duck and cover, like, uh nuke drill preparation stuff and the ambient threat of that, or school shooting preparations and the ambient threat of that?
Specifically, this generation.
In terms of like, um, what do you mean?
Like, there's
Because this
more.
generation, we don't
Yeah,
do
I
nuke
know. That's
training
what I'm saying.
drills.
Like, I would definitely say if it's like this generation, obviously it would be the guns because
Yeah,
it's the more present thing. But if it's like the idea is you had both, right? Let's say like you had um school shooters, but they're from the opposing side coming whatever, right? I guess at that point they're invading, but
yeah. More what I mean is, like, so there's the psychological effect that had having those nuke preparation drills on, like, the people during the Cold War, like the student body at the time, right? And then there's
yeah,
also the psychological impact of having school shooting drills and that as an ambient threat, um, in our generation's time. Which one do you think is more impactful on the respective generations? Is what I mean.
oh, okay, okay, okay.
Not necessarily
mm,
historically, but which one do you think is, like, the more severe or, like, more mentally, you know? Because you're definitely fucked in a nuke, whereas you can survive at a school shooting. But a school shooting is much more personal and very freaky in concept, and a nuke is such a broad concept.
yeah, I think
I mean,
okay, the nuke I agree with the sense like you're kind of fucked regardless, right? Like it's just like if it happens, it happens. Like good luck, right? I'll see you on the other side if there is one, right? But
yeah,
I think a shooting is way more, as you said, personal. Not in the sense that like, you know, my classmate did this specifically for me. Maybe whatever reason they have, hope they get help. But it feels way more. I feel like worse because you're like, damn, this is someone like I grew up with, right? Regardless of whether or not I was really friends with this person or not. Like this is someone like who lived in the same town as me, right?
yeah,
Compared to the nuke, it's like it's some people in a country that we're fighting a war against, and they have their own reasons, and we're also threatening them with like the nuclear warfare. It's like the school shooter feels a little more. I think it hits more at home, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely if it happens, just because you're not going to live anyway. I mean, they both have bad um, issues. They both have massively poor issues to them, of course. That'll happen. Um, but even if like it doesn't happen, what I'm thinking is like, obviously no nukes were dropped outside of testing facilities in during World War II.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but you can go your whole life experiencing shooter drills without ever having a school shooting. In the situation where you never get nuked or you never experience a school shooting, which one do you think is the harder?
I
Which
think
one do you
school
think is
shooting.
the bigger? You think that one has the more impactful psychological effect?
I think it's again like the hit. It's like the hit at home thing. It's like these are people that like are American, like American citizens. These are people who, in a sense, right? They're people that even if they like say travel right across country, California to New York, and then that person from California does a mass shooting. I think it feels worse because they're like one of you in a sense, right? But compared to
Yeah,
like a nuke, it's like it's people across the globe. I
yeah,
I don't know, like I don't want like any type of death or any type of violence, right?
yeah,
But I think it's just worse that like someone in this like country that we live in as like together, whether regardless how much you like it or not, it's kind of fucked to think that like, wow, this guy who's like I could be sitting next to this person and he's a school, he's a mass shooter. It's like it's kind of fucked.
yeah. No, I definitely, yeah, I would say I agree with you. I would think psychologically there's a much larger impact having been through school shooting preparations and drills and things like that on our generation, even than like nuke drills, for example, in other generations, for similar reasons as you're saying. Exactly, like yeah, it's there's the personal effect. You're basically being taught that like this happens a bunch, and there's nothing that the government can take steps, quote unquote, to do against it or whatever. So we have to teach it's your personal responsibility for you to survive with your classmates in that situation, as opposed to like a nuke where it's like in terms of which event, if a school shooting happened versus a nuke happening, of course the nuke has a broader impact. And if you survive the situation of the nuke, like you're in the outer parts and you're just irradiated heavily from historical situations and in World War II, I mean, it's going to be a horrifying it's going to be a horrifying next day, 2, 3, 4 week, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
decades maybe.
decades for sure. But I mean, just like the first week is gonna be like straight out of a horror movie, typically.
It's not gonna
Um,
be not neither situation is good, but
yeah, but in terms of the psychological, in terms of like how that impacts you mentally, I would think um, because um, like nukes, I feel like there's no way in hell. I know if our generation had the nuke training thing, like in a serious sense, we wouldn't take it seriously at all. And I
yeah,
have
we'd
a
be like,
feeling
it is what it is.
we'd be like, "Oh, duck and cover. Yes, that will help us." I think it's a similar situation for older generations. I have a feeling they thought the exact same thing. They spent the whole time being like, "Oh, duck and cover. That'll help us."
At some point, you definitely just be like, you realize it's like these drills are like to make us feel safer, but the reality of it actually working, like I'm sure, like here's the tornado drills, the earthquake drills, like getting under sound structure so you don't like get collapsed on, right? That makes sense. Getting
Yeah,
underground so you don't deal with the tornado above ground, right? On the ground makes sense.
let's deal with the uprising winds. Yeah,
But it's like it's a safety measure that makes people feel safe. It saves people's lives. But some of them, it's just like the nuke thing. It's like the duck and cover. I'm like, it's crazy to think that you expect like little Sally to just believe she's gonna live this just because she watched a turtle do it.
yeah, with a war helmet.
Honestly, maybe it's the helmet that's saving it. Maybe that's what we
That's
need.
true. and the shell, but we don't have one of those.
Not yet. We could get one. We could get one.
True. Evolution at its finest, yeah. But yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting, it's a weird world.